What if everything you thought made you a good husband is actually the reason your marriage feels distant? You're doing everything they said a good man should do. You work hard, you stay loyal, you provide. But behind the scenes, something's shifting. She doesn't smile like she used to. She seems tired or distant. Or maybe you feel like you're walking on eggshells all the time. And the worst part, you don't know what you've done wrong because you thought you were doing everything right. So I want to ask you this really important question. Is it possible to love your wife deeply and still lose her slowly? My name is Will Bridges, and I know what it feels like to try as hard as you can and still miss the mark. This is not about judgment. It's about clarity. It's about becoming the kind of man your marriage needs before it's too late. In this video, we're going to break down 5 powerful truths every husband must learn and how to change course while there's still time and reconnect, rebuild, and lead with love. Let's talk about the quiet mistake most husbands make without ever realizing it because it doesn't look like a mistake at all. Let me tell you a story about a good friend of mine named Kevin. Kevin was a kind man who never missed the bill. He worked 50 hours a week, fixed what was broken, made sure the car was gassed up, and the fridge was stocked all the time. But one night, he sat across from his wife and she said, "You're here, but I miss you." And that broke something open inside him. Many husbands grow up learning to measure their value by their work ethic. You're taught to provide, to show love by making life easier. But your wife did not marry a bank account or some to-do list. She married you. And when she feels emotionally alone, it doesn't matter how much you're physically doing. Being present means more than being home. It means putting your phone down when she's talking, listening, not to respond or to fix whatever, but simply to hear her, to listen to her. It's asking, "How did your day go?" Even when yours was hard. It's looking her in the eyes and letting her know you see her and not just survive with her. After years of marriage, I've learned this, so please listen. Being a husband isn't just about carrying the load, it's about carrying her heart. Think of your marriage like a fire. Money might be the wood, but presence is the flame. Without it, the room goes cold no matter how much money you have. Now, this next one. It's the one that hits the hardest because it's not about effort, it's about identity. And it's why so many good men silently lose their marriages. A husband once said, "I know what my wife used to be like, but now I don't know who she is. She has changed emotionally, spiritually, personally." But he was still loving her based on who she was 5 years ago. People change. Our wives change, and our marriage doesn't mean we get lifetime access to somebody's heart unless you keep learning who they're becoming. A good husband doesn't simply say, "I love you." He studies his wife. He asks questions. He listens to the little things she says about her dreams, her fears, and everything important to her. She might not even fully know herself right now. So your job isn't just to keep pace with her. It is to support her as she grows. That means be curious. Don't control her. Show interest. Don't make assumptions. Be a partner. Don't perform. Because the man who keeps rediscovering his wife would never wake up next to a stranger. Try to imagine her like a beautiful song. You may know the chorus, but if you stop listening, you'll miss the new verses that she's writing. I want to give you this challenge before we move on. I want to give you something to do, something that could shift your entire marriage this week. I want you to plan a rediscovery date, and here's how it works. Choose 1 hour this week and take your wife somewhere simple, coffee, a walk, even a car ride. And when you do so, ask her these 3 questions. What's something new you've been thinking about lately? Is there anything you felt lately that you haven't told me about? Or if you could grow in any one area this year, what would it be? Don't try to fix anything. Don't explain yourself. Just listen. Let her open up. Let her feel seen. You'll be amazed at what you learn and what that does for your connection with your wife. If you get your "I will be my best today" journal, write it down. Don't forget them. grow from them. This isn't just practice, it's a promise to her that you are still very interested in her. When you rediscover her heart, you won't fear losing it. But now, let's talk about how to love her when she's hurting. When Kevin's wife started crying during an argument, his first instinct was to say, "What do you want me to do?" And that response made her feel even more alone because she wasn't asking for action. She was asking for connection. Most men are trained to solve. That's how we feel useful, but emotional pain isn't always something to fix. Sometimes it's something to witness. She may not want your advice. She may not want a plan. She may just need your arms, your eyes, your quiet presence that says, "I'm not going anywhere." If you can sit with her in the storm without trying to end it, you become her safe place, not just her solution. This is what I've discovered. Sometimes the most powerful thing a husband can say is nothing at all. Think of her pain like rain. She doesn't need you to build an umbrella. She needs you to sit beside her until the sun returns. Let's change direction for a second though, because a big part of being a better husband isn't just about understanding her, it's about understanding you. Kevin was always strong, but that strength became a wall. He thought shielding his emotions protected his family until his wife said, "I feel like I don't know what's going on inside you." Your silence might be meant as strength, but it lands as distance. Vulnerability isn't weakness. It's intimacy, and your wife isn't expecting you to be an emotional poet. She just wants to feel connected to your heart. It's okay to say, "I don't know what I'm feeling right now. I'm trying to figure it out." That honesty is more powerful than perfection. I've learned that a guarded man can protect his house, but only an open man can build a home. It's kind of like your heart is a locked door. If you never hand your wife the key, she'll eventually stop knocking. Now, let's talk about one of the most overlooked signs of a strong husband. And no, it's not what most men think it is. When their marriage hit a rough patch, Kevin thought, "I can fix this myself." But it took years and nearly losing everything before he realized growth cannot happen in isolation. Whether it's prayer, counseling, mentorship, or even trusted friends, asking for help is not a flaw. It's leadership. And strong husbands don't suffer in silence. They seek tools. They ask questions. They grow on purpose. And sometimes the best thing you can do for your wife is work on yourself. A husband who gets help isn't weak. He is wise. Even the best cars need tune-ups. You're not broken. You just need realignment. Now that we've unpacked what's going wrong, let's talk about one simple shift that can change everything in your marriage. Too many husbands give compliments based on what their wives do, not who they are. "Thanks for dinner." "You're a great mom." Those are nice, but those type of compliments don't hit the heart. Instead, say, "I admire the way you love your family. I'm grateful for your strength when I fall short. I still think about the first time I saw you smile." Do you see the difference? When you speak to her heart and not her habits, you create safety, warmth, desire, and trust. Praise your wife's soul, not her schedule. Think of your words like water. If you pour them into her spirit, not just on her chores, she is going to blossom. Let's bring this full circle because everything that we've covered today leads to one truth. You're not failing, you're becoming, you're growing as a husband. So let's wrap this up. In this video, you've learned that providing for your wife is not the same as being present. You have to keep rediscovering your wife. Never ever stop doing this. You don't always need to fix your wife's pain. Sometimes you just need to hold her through it. Your vulnerability is your power as a husband. It's okay to ask for help. Asking for help is a sign of a very strong man. And speaking her heart will change everything. This is not about guilt. It's about your growth as a man, as a husband. If you're watching this, it means that you really care, and caring is the first sign of a great husband. But now it's time to act like one. If this spoke to you, take 60 seconds to grab the I Will Be My Best Today journal. Link is in the description, and write one thing you're going to start doing differently as a husband starting tonight, because becoming a better husband doesn't start with her. It starts with you. Drop a comment. I'm choosing to grow before it's too late, and share this with the fellas who are married or thinking about getting married. And if you still here, hit subscribe, not just for content, but for change.